evolved. Initially, I thought of just journaling things that I experience, what I go through, and actually that's what was my intention, just write and keep it there, and that's part of my life. And whoever comes next could read it and learn something from that. But as I said, Bob was very instrumental into making this into a book, because yes, I wrote it, and we read the journal together, and the other person, actually I shouldn't forget, was my nephew who lives in Tanzania. He's a bit of an IT. So when I wrote this, put everything together, we looked at it with Bob, and Bob, as you know, he's very enthusiastic about being very. So we sent this to my nephew, and he made it into a book, actually. So when we saw that, we were like, wow, this is a book, And Bob was like, you have to publish this, and that's how my book came about.
Yeah. So it was just basically the journaling.
Yes, it started with.
Was it difficult for you to put this stuff in your journal, because it's so much of it is horrendous stuff?
No, it wasn't so difficult, because I had so many ideas, so many things in my mind, so it wasn't so difficult actually. Yes. And I must say that part of my experience of writing came from my writing my master's thesis. So I think that also gave me the strength that maybe I can be an author, because I already published a master's thesis, also a paper in an environmental science journal. So that, I think those also are the things that gave me courage or confidence to publish the book about my life.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I think, thank you for saying that, because, so basically you were already in a project for your master's, so you were already, your mind was already in writing and doing that and publishing, so then this kind of flowed right with it. Is that what you're saying? That from that you went right to this journaling and then coming up with it?
No, I did my master's in 1996.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right.
So I guess what I'm saying is, my mindset was somewhere a little bit higher. I guess it will be different if you never wrote any, never. So I mean, publishing or writing a book becomes it's like a concept, like a strange, not a familiar concept. But since I published my master's thesis, I knew that I could do it. I could write a.
Take your confidence.
Yes, I had confidence to do it.
Hono has a master's in chemistry, and she was going to put in a journal, and I said, people want to know what Africa is like, because just about everybody here has never been to Africa.
Correct.
I've been there twice and had the pleasure, and it was cultural shock for me, because I saw 5-year-old children holding the hands of 7-year-old children walking along the side of a road in the dark, walking to school for miles. In the dark. Imagine your 5-year-old and 7-year-old, we get arrested for that. We bought souvenirs from people, and the woman would say, thank you so much for buying this, in Swahili, of course. Hono translated, now I can feed my family today. So cultural shock is very big when you go to another country, and especially for her coming to the United States as a professional black woman, the racism, the challenges, the resiliency she has to endure. It was, the book is fascinating. I learned more about her I've been married 5 years to her, and I learned more about that book, about her, than I did in 5 years. So it was really eye-opening for me, and I'm proud of her, because she sat down at that computer 4 hours a night. I don't know where she got the strength. I guess when you have a passion, just like you write poetry, you have a passion for what you're doing, you can't stop. The ideas are flowing, you know, you're pouring your heart out, and you want people to feel what you're feeling. And as I said, I'm very proud of her to write that book. So,
Thank you.
Well, is there gonna be a part 2?
sequel.
Actually, what I have in my mind is to, before my parents passed away, I wanted them to write their story, you know, their story, because I knew women lose that. By the way, I am from a royal family, so I know there is a lot of stories that I thought my parents would write. So my parents, especially my dad, wrote, and Philip put that in a manuscript, and it has been there for years and years. So I'm thinking that maybe that should be my next project, put that into a book.
So you come from a storytelling family, yeah?
Yes. Yeah. My dad was a teacher, so yeah.
Have you thought of writing poetry or maybe stories?
Poetry?
Poems?
Poems?
Or maybe a story I'll bet you could put this. I know what it's like to look at the objective reality and try to get it down. But it's got its own set of strictures. But if you, suppose you wrote a fiction writer's account, just make up a story about somebody. It goes through this stuff. I bet that would be amazing. I would like to encourage you to do that.
I kind of missed what you said, John. What were you saying now?
Am I talking loud enough?
No, I didn't quite hear what you were saying.
Okay, I'm saying that, like, I was asking her if she'd ever considered writing poetry or fiction. Wouldn't it be great I'll bet she could write an incredible fictional account of this stuff. You're not bound by the facts, but get to the heart of what it really means by making an imaginary story and say whatever you want about what's happening. Show the person, show what's going through their mind, just tell a story. I'd love to see you do that.
Actually, I am not a big fan of fiction.
I'll testify to that.
Well, yeah.
Storytellers.
Well, I testify to
Great
that.
stuff,
I don't have a big imagination. I like the real stuff. Maybe I can learn.
Yes. Yeah, it's not that hard. You take the real stuff and you just, don't you dream about this stuff? You have dreams about this, right?
Fiction, no.
No, about the realities. You must dream about all these issues and all these things you've been through, right? Yes. I mean, are the dreams like a newsreel, or are they like a story of some made-up character? So if you can write the real stuff, you can write that too.
Actually, I hate to say something that have been occupying me, and both, knows that I've been getting these clips of Holocaust, and I try to avoid it, but it's something that I've been involved with, I've been involved in my mind a lot, because I see these things, because we hear about it, but when you see the videos, it opens you up to a new world, a different, And my thing is, why don't we put this story should be in schools, should be taught in schools. It shouldn't be something, left for certain people. It should be taught everywhere in schools so that they don't happen again. Because if they don't do that, these things can happen. So that is something that has been, Bob can tell you that, because he keeps saying, don't get to these things, but it's hard to not to. Yeah.
One of her family members was writing a history of their family. She comes from a royal family. She's a princess, so I guess I'm a prince. I don't know. You don't have to kiss my but you can kiss my ring if you want to. So it's imagine to hear her great grandfather was a chief, and to hear the stories behind that. That would be a great book to put together with family members, you know what I'm saying? Something like that, because everybody be interested in something, because that's a new world to us here. That's why we're fascinated by somebody from another country on compared to what we have brought up with compared to what you. Like, Hono is very much now into the Holocaust, you know, thinking she married a Jewish guy that I'm going to know all about the Holocaust, you know, which I knew just about everybody else knows, but nothing extra. And, you know, she's abhorred, and we all are, about what went on in the Holocaust, you know. So we learn from each other, we grow from each other, and we feel from each other, right? So it's important to share. And this is a great session.
It's good.